Bill Morrison. I'm a social anxiety coach. Something about me does find the fact that I'm doing YouTube videos quite funny. I also really enjoy them as well. Something that I've always focused on since becoming a coach is getting past my own ego to help out another person. And rather than just using my own ideas and teaching what I think is going to help that person out, really finding out what's important to the person that I'm coaching and delivering the value that they're really looking for. A difference between private coaching and social media is that with private coaching, you're listening to a person a lot of the time. And the coaching, the conversation, is specifically tailored to that individual, their current lifestyle, and what they've been through in their past. Whereas with social media, a bit like when I'm doing an in-person event and there's a bunch of people there, it's more general purpose content. So I can generally teach you great advice for reducing and overcoming social anxiety. I can teach you the universal principles that help out my clients, that have helped out me. But perhaps there's something you've been through specifically, which is making you feel blocked and closed off around people. Because people are complicated. Maybe what would help you out is a bit different than what would help out the next person. But on some level, we're all looking for help and support, reassurance, someone that listens to us and understands us, and someone that's going to push us to get past our own emotional blockages, our own fears, and live our best lifestyle. We're all looking for that. We all benefit from that. So I'll give you some really simple and practical general purpose advice that universally helps out people with social anxiety. But if there's something specific that you're looking for, just let me know. Comment, email, and I'll do my best to help you out in your journey through my content, my events, and all my different services. Firstly, really, really simple. If you've got social anxiety, join a gym. Take up cardio. Even though I'm not a drinker, beer and football, they're two things that go together. In the same way, cardio and social anxiety, they're a match made in heaven. They complement each other. They just go hand in hand so well. There's so many similarities and so much crossover. For example, when you're in a social situation and you feel that resistance to connecting with people, to joining in a conversation, expressing your opinion, and putting your point across, you have to find a way to push past that blockage and speak anyway. When you decide to go for a run and you look outside your window and it's dark and it's cold and it's raining, you're going to feel an inner resistance, not unlike the one you feel around people. There'll be this voice saying that it's best to stay in tonight, let's not go out, I'm not in the mood, I don't feel like it. That's the anxiety voice. The same voice is the one that stops you from joining in social conversations. Discipline beats anxiety, and discipline beats that resistance which stops you from doing cardio. So you get to train that discipline muscle. So discipline really is one of the best things for social anxiety. And also, on a really simplistic level, running makes you feel better. The endorphins flood through your system, which makes you more confident around people. Your mood's improved, and it's easier to socialize when you're in a good mood than when you're in a bad mood. You also typically feel calmer after going for a run, possibly due to the endorphins and then also the fact that you've worked out your nervous system as well as your cardiovascular system. This helps out with social anxiety. Running and breathing in the way that you do when you run, it actually warms up your vocal cords and voice. So if you have a public talk coming up in the afternoon and you go for a run in the morning, it actually improves the delivery of your public talk. There's more power and potency in your voice. You just project a lot better. So cardio and social anxiety, they really do go hand in hand. And I've never coached a client who's not benefited from doing cardio. What else helps? The second really, really important thing is to get away from people who don't believe in you, people that are negative and complaining and drain your energy. And instead, do your best to surround yourself with people who genuinely believe in you, people who have your back, people that are able to see your unique strengths and talents. I'll share with you an example which relates to this. There's a personal development book, a very famous one, which is one of my all-time favorites. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Fantastic book. Really respect the author. Really is gold content as far as I'm concerned. In the first chapter, he talks about his son. And so Stephen R. Covey and his wife, they used to think that their son lacked natural ability. He was struggling with exams in school. He was struggling to perform well on the playing fields doing sports. And they had a belief that he was just of a lower ability than other children. They had a conversation, Stephen and his wife, and they actually came to a realization. The realization was that they're completely responsible for how they choose to perceive their son. So why perceive their son in a negative light when they can see their son in a positive light? And they chose to change how they see their son. They started to notice the things that he was doing well and praise him for this. They started to notice their son's natural talents. Always made a point of pointing this out. And because they saw their son in a more positive light, their son started to perform better in school. Suddenly, their son was getting better grades in exams. And even though it took some time, their son found a way to perform better on the sports pitches. This increased performance reaffirmed their belief that their son was actually talented, and he kept on growing further, and even further. And what does this tell you? This tells you that the way you see other people affects that other person, those other people. And the way that people see you, it actually affects you. If you're around people that don't think that much of you, they don't truly value you, they don't get you, they don't understand you, they don't see your true strengths and talents, their perspective and how they perceive you, it's going to change how you view yourself. It's going to affect your confidence. And if your confidence takes a big knock, your performance will go down as well. But the great thing is, it works both ways. Because you know this, you can choose to surround yourself with people who actually are positive and uplifting, people who genuinely see the strength in you. And this is going to massively improve how you see yourself. Your confidence will increase, and so will your competency in life. A pattern that I've experienced growing up, and I know is really, really common in people that I've coached who've had social anxiety, is that when they were navigating life, solving problems, their natural way of doing things was corrected. So they tried to solve a problem in a way in which is intuitive to them, a way which just feels natural. And somebody else externally criticized that and said, don't do it like this. That's wrong. Instead, do it like this. Deal with this situation in the way that I deal with it. And the person with social anxiety came to the conclusion that their way of doing it must be wrong. They tried another person's way of doing it, and it just didn't work for them. Because it's not intuitive, it's not playing to their natural strengths, they're struggling. And they believe that they're incompetent, they're stupid, they're lacking ability, because they're trying to do something just like somebody else is, but they're not getting the results. And they think, why am I not getting the results? I must just be inferior and broken. That must be why. But the reality is that if that person had been allowed to trust in their own processes, supported doing things their way of doing things would be just as valid as any other person's. They would have developed trust in themselves. Your way of navigating life, people, solving problems is just as valid as anybody else's. And the reason that you're on this planet, it's not a fluke. Your DNA has survived many, many, many millions of years of evolution. And it's so valuable that you're here today. So you have natural strengths, and your natural way of doing things is obviously good. So when you start to do things in the way which is right for you, you'll start to recognize your own strengths and see yourself in a good light. For example, so crocodiles have evolved to be crocodiles as we know them. They're incredibly good at what they do. No one's come along and criticized one and said, stop biting like this and start biting a different way. They're machines of evolution, and they're designed to function perfectly well by following their natural instincts. It's no different for humans. You're a success machine, but maybe somebody told you that you're doing this wrong. They corrected you, but that correction actually messed you up and it made you lose trust in your own abilities. And you can regain this trust by listening to your gut instinct and starting to do things in your own way and seeing for yourself that you are competent, you are capable, you do deserve to be confident in yourself. And a great way to do this is to get around good people that see your strengths, support you, and believe in you. So far, 2 great strategies to reduce social anxiety: cardio and surrounding yourself with good people that genuinely believe in you rather than negative people. A third method to overcome social anxiety is honesty. Truly being yourself. When I say being honest, I'm not talking about using honesty as a vice to actually be mean about other people, to be blunt, to be direct, but actually be an a-hole. I'm talking about being honest from a place of love, a place of empathy. This is completely different. You know when you're being honest and you're being yourself because you feel this great sense of self-connection. And the self-connection is so important. And when you're experiencing this sense of self-connection and you're interacting with other people, you're open and available to form a great connection with somebody else. Somebody else who's right for you. Someone who is from a similar world. Someone who you're meant to really hit it off with. Whenever you're being fake and you're not being yourself, you're actually self-harming. So being fake is self-harm because when you're being fake, it's based on the underlying belief that you're not enough as you are. You being yourself is somehow wrong, so you become somebody else. But this is an insult to you. When you instead decide to be really, really honest with people, you're just being yourself, nothing to hide. It's actually self-love, the exact opposite of self-harm. It's based on the belief that you're already enough as you are. The only constant in social situations from your experience is that you're there. There's no point in becoming a character and trying to build confidence in a character because this is your one shot at life. The one time when you have a chance to experience everything, connecting with people, living your dreams. The only character to play is yourself. The sooner that people realize this, the more stress is cut out of their life, the happier they become, the further they fly, the further they go. And when you're being yourself, you feel so good that you don't really care if you don't connect with somebody. You come away thinking, well, at least I was myself in that situation. And the crazy thing is, when you can learn to enjoy social situations, your mood and energy is going to be so good in general that you're going to have a much easier time connecting with people. People want to be around people with a great energy. If you have a great general energy, but you're also a good person, you're not too intense, you're someone who listens to other people, so they feel accepted, they feel heard, they feel understood, they're going to want to spend more time with you. Something I realized when I became a coach is that when you genuinely listen, properly listen to other people, and don't think what to say next, other people, they open up so much more and so much faster. The conversation goes in its own unique direction. It's more powerful. There's just less blockages in the way, stopping you from forming a connection. What do other people want? So, other people, they want to feel accepted for being themselves. That's what they want. This is something which you can provide to other people by genuinely listening to them, genuinely trying to understand what they're communicating. And also, you can give other people permission to be themselves by letting your own guard down and being yourself. As soon as people with social anxiety stop playing pretend and start to have authentic, meaningful conversations where they talk with emotion rather than being cut off from emotions, suddenly they're the best when it comes to truly connecting with people. People who come from that background of social anxiety, they tend to be really, really good in one-on-one conversations. Because people with social anxiety, they're more sensitive than the average person, and they have higher levels of empathy. And in one-to-one conversations especially, this really comes across. And you can be someone who is super easy to talk to. And it's crazy for me to have realized that somebody can go from having extreme social anxiety, where they really struggle to connect with people, and they literally believe that they're lacking ability around people, and they can swing in the other direction and get to a stage where connecting with people is their main strength in life. Because you've been through your set of challenges and you have social anxiety, you actually understand what's harmful to other people as well as what's helpful. So you have that extra level of sensitivity towards other people. This means that you can get your point across without being aggressive, and you understand that when other people are expressing their opinion, you're not going to shut them down and close them off. And I learned this from doing improv comedy. So when I would do improv comedy, we were instructed not to shut down other performers. Because being negative and shutting down someone else's expression and their creativity, it actually just kills the scene. It kills the energy, kills the flow, doesn't do anybody any good. So to start off with, you're taught to agree with what other people say, just to begin with. And over time, this evolves into accepting what other people say and building on it. So you don't have to agree with an opinion or perspective that someone else has, but you can at least accept their right to express that. They're validated in their ability to be themselves and express whatever they feel like. Even if you don't agree with it, they're still entitled to do that. And then you can share your perspective. And when people interact in this way, the energy just keeps going up because no one's shut down and everybody feels better. Of course, it would be amazing if in real life everybody was this positive and there wasn't negative people. But usually, when you're in a really good place and you're in social environments, people don't want to be negative because it doesn't feel good to be negative. Behind closed doors, when you really get to know people, that's usually when their true colors come out. So if somebody is quite a negative person, you might not know that before spending time with them. But as soon as you see that, you can just distance yourself from that person. So usually in heightened social environments like a nightclub, for example, people want to be positive and put good energy out there because it feels good to be a good person. And this can actually play to your advantage because you know that as long as you're coming from a good place, you're not trying to take anything, you're giving value and you're sharing, other people will generally be very, very accepting. And knowing that every person has fear, everybody's got a healthy level of nerves, and everybody's looking to feel accepted for being themselves. And by being someone that generally accepts other people are going to want to have conversations with you. And something that a client taught me, a really nice viewpoint. So he said that at my last event, he said that he's come to the conclusion that how he sees other people is actually his responsibility. And when he chooses to view people in a positive light, he feels better. And I definitely resonate with this. Viewing other people in a positive light, it makes you feel good and it makes them feel good around you. And the way I see it is, if you don't truly know somebody, why not give them the benefit of the doubt and view them in a positive way? Just like we have that philosophy of innocent until proven guilty, why not assume that people are good unless proven bad? A lot of people are scared of being taken advantage of. But actually, when it comes to speaking to people, it's only when you become close to somebody that that becomes an issue. You're just having a chat with somebody. You're not offering them money. There's nothing that they can really take. So I think when it comes to socializing and conversations, view other people in a positive light. Try and be generally understanding and accepting. Drop the ego. Don't view yourself as above other people. And at the same time, don't view them as above you either. We're all equal at the core level. And when you go into a social situation with this different attitude, you'll find that you enjoy yourself a lot more, and you just have a much easier time connecting with people. You don't need to force yourself to be an extrovert as well. That's a really important point, and is based on being yourself. Knowing what your unique strengths are can really help out. So maybe there's a conversation that's really, really loud and high energy, and you know that that's not your forte. That's okay. So in this moment, you might be a bit quieter than the average person. But in a different situation, when the conversation starts to go deeper, suddenly you're going to come alive and be the life and soul of that party. So an evening out socializing, it's like a full painting on a canvas. But individual situations and events, they're just one brushstroke. So take the pressure off yourself. You're not required to appear to be this amazing person 24/7. It's okay to make mistakes. If you make a mistake in a social situation, it's a positive thing. It's a sign that you're actually going for it and being courageous. And often mistakes are funny things, they're talking points. So if ever you make a mistake in a social situation, feel good about that. Celebrate mistakes. For example, I have an Honor phone, different brand than normal. I'd normally have a Samsung, but I got this Honor phone about a year and a half ago. And for some reason, the time on my phone is always 10 minutes fast. And whenever I've tried to change it to the right time, it resets itself to 10 minutes fast. That error, that mistake, is actually a quirk. So mistakes are just talking points, funny stories, nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. Your overall impression is not formed from one moment, one event. It's the overall big picture. So taking your time when you're socializing and not judging yourself so harshly can really, really help out. And one of the most important things to focus on is enjoying yourself, because what's the point in making all this effort to overcome social anxiety if you don't enjoy speaking to people? The whole point of overcoming social anxiety is so you can enjoy social interactions. You might as well start with the end in mind and enjoy yourself now. Being yourself and expressing your personality really helps out when it comes to enjoying yourself, and also changing your mindset so you're not viewing it as a competition, you're not acting from a place of ego, taking it a lot lighter. Something you can do as well if you have social anxiety that really helps out my clients, is to not focus so much on you and focus more on other people when you're socializing. You may feel that your fear and your nerves is a massive problem. And the more you focus on it, the more it feels like an issue. But the more you focus on other people, the less attention you're placing on your own problems, the less big and daunting your own problems feel. It's a great way to get out of your head and start to connect with other people. And when you recognize the fear and social anxiety in other people, that stops you being so self-conscious of your own social anxiety. Every person has anxiety around people, so everyone has social anxiety. It's a spectrum. It's just that people have varying degrees. And know that just because somebody appears really relaxed and confident in one situation, it doesn't mean that they're always relaxed and confident. And it doesn't even mean that they're relaxed and confident right now. Some people are really, really good at masking their fear. And we all have times where we feel really confident and great, and times where we feel more doubtful and we feel less confident. We all go through these transitions. So when you're at a social, try to see the social anxiety in other people around you. And this reminds you of the fact that we're just human. Everybody is a bit vulnerable. And once you've done this, you've freed yourself from worrying so much about social anxiety. And this is quite a part of the battle already won. So if you're interested in overcoming your social anxiety, there's a bunch of things that I do, which I believe can help you out. So I do private one-to-one coaching, and I offer people pay-as-you-go coaching, usually one session a month, over a video call or coffee in Birmingham. This really helps out. What I also do is I put on live events in Birmingham. So I do coffee socials every single month to help people overcome social anxiety, make friends, have fun. And I've also recently built a second community. And for the second community, I'm actually putting on 3 events a month. Going to go for a run on a Sunday morning in Birmingham. And after a 30-minute run, a 1-hour coffee social. And I'll make sure that it's a really positive, supportive, and uplifting energy when we're doing the coffee social. So if you're interested in checking out one of my live events, or you're interested in being coached, just send me an email. Also, if you know what would help you out when it comes to overcoming your own social anxiety, again, feel free to contact me. I have no problem being interactive. Interactions are how you overcome social anxiety in the first place. So feel free to reach out. Until next time, have a great rest of your day.